Hey, yo, peace, everybody. It's your man, Honorable October 9 from the Art of Thinking Out Loud. Live Common Sense Analytics. As I told y'all, if you got the memo, this past Friday, I went and checked out the movie Him, starring Marlon Wayans. And I want to say, first and foremost, want to give a shout to my man, the Black Guy, because he gave a very good, a preemptive analysis on what he thought the movie would be about, as far as involving, injuries with the players, the like CTE and things like that. Well, I just want to say that with this movie, what I kind of took from it was, and I don't want to give up all of the movie for those who haven't seen it, but I'm going to give my honest opinion on a couple scenes and a couple situations I got from it. First, in the opening, when they were showing the child, what I like to call the grooming sequence is when you have parents who we take our own personal obsessions and we, not all the time purposely, but sometimes just in trying to live kind of vicariously through our children, we put that we wanted to be. You had a father who was obsessed with football, therefore his son gets pushed into this same situation. We see this every day when we see parents. A father is a big football fan, and he used to play ball. He might have been a star player. He might have went all the way to the NFL, whatever. May not. May have just went to college, but whatever. May have been a high school, hero. Had a lot of different stats and, newspaper articles about it, everything. But sometimes we as parents, we put these, I like to call them our personal burdens. We put these burdens of our regrets. When I see parents groom children, this is why I'm talking about this opening scene where the father has the child into football, everything. The child loves football, loves Marlon's character, his player. It's no different than a child loving whomever. But this child then grows up and you're playing ball throughout your whole life because you're trying to be this particular person. Meanwhile, you don't know what this person, fast forward to Marlon's character, you don't know what this person has truly went through to get in this situation. And it takes me to when people say, sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes. Sometimes it's better to just love our heroes' artwork. If there are athletes, just love them on the field. Love when they make appearances and do interviews like that. Don't ever get to meet them because it's like we often forget these are real people. But what I'm getting into is this: when this young man who grew in popularity because he was the shit. He rose in rank. He had the best stats here and there, everything, all that. Go check out the movie for yourself. But he rose to a point where he was in, and this is where I like to say popularity is the curse. He rose into popularity. With popularity comes a responsibility, a social responsibility. And what I mean by that is that once people know you, and they know you for something, they know you for like playing ball, it becomes a part of you. Now you have to keep up this character. You have to maintain this character, this persona. You have to maintain whatever it is that the public has fallen in love with. This turns into an obsession. You see how the character, when he grows in popularity and he goes through his own traumatic situation and everything, which he thinks can stop his career, he perseveres, taken back to the grooming process. When you put something in the first 6 years of a child's life, or the programming years, whatever you put into a child's mind in the first 6 years of their life sticks with them and grows as a part of their basic operating system. This kid knew football. So even when he went through situations that could have stopped him from possibly playing football, he pushed through that shit, which then put him on the radar of Marlon Wayans' character and the other big dogs. Now, this is where shit gets weird. He's taken to this remote training facility. I'm fast forwarding through a lot. You go see the movie, you want to get a lot of shit filled in. But he's taken to this remote training facility. And it looked a lot like the place that the Rockefeller family owns that's out in the middle of the desert. But that's neither here nor there. But they took him to this place out in the desert. Now, upon going into this place looks like it shouldn't be there. First off, when you see the movie, you'll understand. But upon meeting Marlon's character, I think he's introduced to how at first there's a down-to-earth feeling of it, but then there's a kind of weirdness to it. But then as he gets into the whole training process, which we don't realize that a lot of things we do every day are rituals. A ritual is simply something that is done repetitively as a thought being manifest in an act for remembrance, to keep an energy present. Well, taking it back to the movie again, like I said, these rituals that we do, whether it's going to practice, whether it's practicing, it's a type of rigorous, training. And the training was less physical, more psychological and emotional. Because I don't think we really understand that when it comes to creating a champion, when we think about the Michael Jordans and we think about all the Kobe Bryants and the people like that and the other folks, whomever that you want to fill into the football spot. I'm not a sports person, so I don't know a lot of football players and shit like that. But just fill whatever athlete that you want to put in there. Now, these particular athletes, if they become the GOATs, greatest of all time, that GOAT thing. But there's a huge responsibility. We've all heard that saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Well, let me tell you something. This goes back to when I'm talking about popularity. When people know you for something, and when you've been groomed for that, no matter what happens to you in your life, all you know is that, so you go back to it as a coping mechanism. Marlon's character was more sadistically abusive to him in his training, because his training was not so much physical training. He was training him spiritually and emotionally for what was to come next. But really, honestly, Marlon didn't want to let go. But he knew his time was coming, because he even made references and made little quotes talking about how you never know when your time is up. You just know when you're there in the light. In other words, he had made a deal long ago with some people, and they put him in that position. But there's only so long you can maintain any position before somebody else comes along, a younger neophyte, somebody who's hungry, who's aggressive, who studied you. You studied greats, he studied them, but he's studying you. So now the hunter is the prey, so to speak. Well, in so many words, without telling a bunch of other things, you fill it in when you go see the movie. It delved into when you reach a certain point, the top that many don't get to see. When you reach a certain point where you're actually signing your soul. I told y'all in a previous video about what it means to sell your soul. We do contract signing every day. We sign contracts for cell phone service. We sign contracts for whatever social media site, when you start your account, whatever. We sign contracts every day. These are deals with different devils. But in this particular movie, he made it to a point where he saw the hidden hand, so to speak. The men who puppet the entire industry of football and who create GOATs. And he was put in a situation where he could sign the blood contracts and go on to replace Marlon's character, so to speak, because they can't have a bunch of you up there. There can only be one. There can only be one. That's the reason there's such a rat race for it. That's why you don't see a bunch of people that are saying, oh, these people are the greatest of all time. No, they say the great, the one, because it's designed that way to cause a division. It's designed to make you envious. It's designed to make you narcissistic, egotistical, because if you know your abilities and you're being compared to somebody else whom they say has equal or better abilities, it's a natural response to feel as if you may be either inferior or you may have more superior skills. And it's the way we respond to it. Some people act out and they go for it. Other people can remain humble when they feel like they've already proven themselves and have had their time in the light. They'll just fall away. But reaching this point, going back to the movie, and then I'm gonna get off of this subject of the movie Him. When he reached this point where he was able to meet this high council, the elite, the hidden hand, they found out that what I'll put it like this: even in grooming people, there's a chance that you can go past your mark, so to speak. You can damage someone psychologically and emotionally, and you can trigger something deep inside of them, even though you're trying to erase certain things out of them and replace other things. Sometimes your core ethics, your core morality, it sticks with you. It's your basic programming. Marlon's character in the movie, he said most people think of God, family, and then so and so. He said no. He said if you want to be the GOAT, if you want to be the greatest, it's football, family, and then God. And throughout the entire thing, you saw a lot of references to, more of the eyes wide shut type of mask. And I think all that is for us, is for us to recognize that nothing in society is as it seems. The world is staged. This is why Shakespeare came up with that whole quote. The world is a stage. And the reason that the world is a stage, let me tell y'all, think about something. Politics is called theater. It's called political theater. That's the reason you see them in there fighting sometimes. Let me tell you something, just since we're on the subject of this whole football thing and, the movie Him, let me drop a few things about football, so to speak. Sports, professional sports, all of them, any of them, they've all been recategorized from being athletic events to being entertainment legally. See, we call a lot of stuff entertainment in a very colloquial, misnomer type of fashion. We just say it. Entertainment could be anything: music, dance, running, jumping, whatever. But entertainment legally means that it's a theater presentation set to entertain audiences, meaning you put together a presentation. Professional sports is now categorized as entertainment because these games are scripted. I've done hella reels about it. I've talked about it many times, man. There's a book called $40 Million Slaves. There's another book called The Big Fix. There's another book called The Big Fix Part 2, talking about how these games are not just scripted and fixed, but they're decided by Las Vegas bigwigs. You want to know who's going to win the Super Bowl? You got to know the right people in Vegas. Want to know who's going to win this, win that, win that? Like I said, nothing happens by happenstance nor by coincidence. They're not going to put up hundreds of millions, billions of dollars and let it just go to a gamble shop. Hell no, the game is fixed. That's just like Vegas. Like I'm always telling y'all, our life and the way everything is set up is just like if you're in a Las Vegas casino.